What's the deal, y'all? It's Cam, and thank you for joining Free Our People till it's backwards, because people are free. I'm not here to force your mind, but I'm here to free it. I'm here to open your mind and rethinking what you were taught your entire life and what we commonly accept and don't truly think about. First, I want to apologize for not uploading a video last week. A toxic and demonic family member had moved back in, and that's just a whole nother talk for a whole nother day. But all to say, today we're going to be talking about, is being gay a sin or not? And the best way that I like to debunk this or talk about this is to use the reasons why people say it would be a sin and explain why it wouldn't really make sense, or why the logic is inconsistent. So let's get straight into it. First, let's start off with the biblical reasons and context for it. In general, I want to start by saying the Bible has a lot of bias or different perceptions that fit everybody's narratives in a different way, which is why you can't put your 100% faith in that. You can put your 100% faith in God, but not man-made things or man-made objects, because we are prone to error, we are imperfect, we are flawed, and we are quite literally biased. So with that, I also want to say that Christianity was not invented by white people, but it was perverted by white people for their interest and their agendas, which this happens to be one, which I'll further break down in a second. But keeping this in mind, this is why there's over 200 versions of the Bible. If the Bible was concrete and 100% God's word, there would be no need or allowance for multiple versions for an Old Testament and a New Testament, because God does not change their mind. God is not human. Like I said, God is omniscient, meaning all-knowing. God will never have to change their mind because they already know. In addition to the Bible, there are many idiosyncrasies within it, meaning, like I said, there's a lot of hypocrisy or things that are flipped. For instance, they'll say, no sin is greater than another, but then they'll say being gay is an abomination. They'll say that there was killing where people killed each other, but killing is also a 10th commandment. So, it's like, what is it? You have to be and trust God, what God tells you in your heart and your mind, because God is usually and almost always what is good, what is positive, what is justice, what is enlightening, what is generous, what is kind, what is giving. Those are the elements and traits of God. So focus on whatever is good, because that is usually where God is. And God is love, and God is not hate. In addition to that, usually when they're talking about gayness and being a sin, they bring up Leviticus. However, in a historical context, Leviticus speaks on pedophilia or pedestry. And also, in my opinion, it kind of touches on adultery or, lust. Also, homosexuality wasn't even coined into the 19th century, so that's not something that was really on the forefront of their mind. This also brings me back and relates to my video on men and women being equal. It's just a patriarchal ideology, because when you think of if you think of homosexuality being a sin because of procreation, you're also saying that the heterosexual people who are put here and do not create are committing a sin, which thus would mean that procreation would be the sin here and not homosexuality. But then that wouldn't quite make sense, would it? Because why would you go to hell for not creating? That's that patriarchal ideology that women are put here just to create. Women are so much more than that. We are logical beings. We are creative beings. We are emotional beings. And just like men, we are equally here, equally yoked to help each other out, to build a world that is better, that is loving, that is generous and kind. And you don't need to create or procreate to do so. In addition to that, gay people can still have babies. That doesn't stop. Gay people still want families. I still want a family. I still plan to birth a child. You can do this through donors. You can do this through having a loved one inseminate, like a friend or whatever that you trust. It's so many other ways and things. We have to open our mind and not be so ignorant or blinded by our biases. Like I said, lust being the main reason that I feel like is the actual sin here, because it's promoting sex. It's promoting, people just doing what they want with whoever, not really wanting to commit to that person, not really wanting to actually relate and get to know that person on an intimate and deeper or godly level. They're not doing it to push themselves closer to a greater relationship or being a greater being, more righteous being. And like I said, this goes with heterosexuals too. People say, they see it a lot on TV, homosexuality. They're feeding this or teaching this to the kids, but that's that biasness, because you shouldn't want heterosexual to be on your screen kissing and touching and feeling on each other in front of your kids either. It's the sex, once again, the lust, the want and need to be on each other, the physical connection without any bonds or strings or love attached. they will say that being gay is a sin is for systematic reasons, which, like I said, is leading back to patriarchal ideology and trying to further divide us so that we focus on little things like that, what people are doing behind closed doors. Instead of loving them, we're then hating, we're dividing, we're not teaming up with that person. That person could be the very person to change someone's lives or touch someone's lives, and you brought them down, or you stopped them from doing that because they're now doubting themselves, or they don't love themselves, or God forbid they have harmed themselves because of your words or your opinions, trying to play God, which is also a sin, judgment. With that also being said, like I said, it's a dividing and combating strategy. This is why you see they want us focused on skin color, sexual orientation, and race. Sex. Men and women. These are the biggest discrepancies in dividing strategies that are being used in the USA to this day. And it's working because that's what we're focused on. We're not focused on all the other real things going on in the world, the war, the harm, the hate, the narcissism, the violence, the chaos that is going on being unleashed into the world. We have to focus on loving each other in love, because God is love. And God says to love each other to the point where we're willing to die for one another, to love your neighbor. I'll also end this with the fact that I was prophesied to not once but twice by people who didn't even know me. I didn't even know him from a can of paint, but they told me I was put here to guide and be a soldier to the people, which is why I call myself God's top soldier. God wouldn't do that if God was focused on who I was or my character, because God calls you by your name and not who you are. Like always, y'all, stay blessed, stay loving, stay kind, stay woke. If you like what you heard today, make sure you comment, like, share, subscribe, comment things you don't know about, you want to see me talk about, you're scared to talk about, or just don't know about in general. And like always, y'all, stay blessed.